Hey y'all, I'm Heather. I am a wife and a mother and an insurance agency owner, a friend, and a PTA advocate. I am so excited to talk about all of the things that I find most precious here within our community, within our lives, and within our faith, friendships, and relationships. Here on Heather's Most Precious. Hey y'all, welcome to Heather's Most Precious. We are so grateful that you joined us today for our very first episode. And y'all, what better way to get to know each other than by hearing from the people that are closest to me? So I am going to be introducing my family to y'all tonight, and my husband Nicholas and my two darling boys, Laker and Oakley. So to start us off, my youngest son, Oakley, the very one who's trying to steal my spotlight, is going to be asking a few questions. Oakley, before you start today, tell us how old you are.
9.
Oh, it took you a minute. When was your birthday?
My birthday was July the 7th, 2014.
Yeah. And so tell us a fun fact about Oakley.
That I like social studies and science.
You like social studies and science? Is that because of your teacher or because of the subject?
The subject and what you can do with the subject.
What are you the most excited about for this year, your 9th year of life?
A bearded dragon.
A bearded dragon? Are you asking for one?
Actually, my parents surprised me.
Yeah, you're pretty excited about it though.
Yeah.
That is awesome. All right, is there anything else you want them to know before we get started today?
I have 3 pets. A cat, a dog, and I'm getting a bearded dragon. That's what counts as 3.
Okay, that is awesome. We've got some pretty cool pets, don't we? Bear, Finnick, and Wilby Blaze, right?
Yep.
Terrific. Okay, so ask away. What's your first question?
Who is Heather Hendrickson?
Ooh, that's a good one. So Heather Hendrickson, I would say that I am a lover of Jesus. I am a wife and a mother first and foremost, a daughter and a friend. I am so grateful to have a very vibrant personality. Do not know a stranger, never have, and just love to have fun. I love to communicate with others. I really enjoy being kind of the life of the party and absolutely adore music. I would think that those are probably the most fabulous parts of myself.
What is a favorite childhood memory?
I have a lot of really good memories of my childhood. So I grew up right outside of Atlanta and in LaGrange, which is where my granny and gramps, who I just absolutely adored, where they lived. Callaway Gardens was not very far from their home, and if y'all don't know Callaway Gardens, it is a fun place. They have nature hikes and a butterfly center and what they call the beach, which is really a lake with sand. They have FSU actually comes up every summer and their students put on a circus that you can go to throughout the week. They have paddle boats and putt-putt, and oh my goodness, so many of my most favorite memories were spent at Callaway Gardens for birthdays and with friends, and anytime I would spend time with Granny and Gramps, whom I miss dearly. But that's probably, I would say, most of my favorite childhood memories all have to do with Callaway Gardens for sure.
What is your favorite color? I think I know what it is.
You do? What do you think my favorite color is?
Turquoise or teal?
Yep, turquoise for sure. Always has been.
Tell me what you do for a living.
So we as a family own an insurance agency, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Hendrickson Agency.
The Hendrickson Agency. So we do everything outside of major medical insurance. So home and auto and boat, life, supplemental health. So day in and day out, I run and manage the agency.
If you were living your childhood dream career, what would you be doing?
So growing up, I always wanted to be a nurse, and not just any nurse. I wanted to be a NICU nurse. And the kind of something silly about that is I did not know anybody that was a specialized nurse in a NICU ever. But from the time I was very little, it was put on my heart that's what I wanted to do. And I remember we had a day bed in our guest room, and I had little, goodness, we had like bins that connected together but were open. And so I would put those, all three of them laid out separately on the bed, and I would have a baby doll in each one. And then I would put the ironing board up with the keyboard from the honking computer, and would check people in and out just to be able to visit their baby. It's, oh my goodness, just one of the sweetest memories. But yeah, I would be a NICU nurse.
What is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal, either a leopard or a peacock.
What type of leopard?
Snow leopard.
Okay, I think it's a peacock, but mine is a snow leopard, but I
Is
think
it?
George's is a peacock.
I think we are just very much alike, which is really cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Oak. Well, I want to kind of turn the tables on you for a minute. What is one of your favorite things that I do, or something that you see me do that you really admire?
I like seeing her work at the PTA.
Yeah.
I like helping at the table with merchandise and that stuff. And I love whenever she comes for Happy Cart, because then I get to be picked up early once they go to my teacher.
Yes. So PTA is a really big deal for us, right? I started when you were in a stroller. I mean, you were an infant, and at the elementary school level, and we are able to do really cool things to help with the school, right? Bridge the gap between the classroom and the community by helping with budget needs, financial needs outside of the school's budget, because those are typically pretty tight, and get to really build relationships with teachers and parents and the staff and admin. And it's really neat. Every child really has a different education style. And so for us to be able to make sure their voice is heard is a really big deal for us, right? All right, so now y'all get to meet my oldest son, Laker, who is fixing to turn 14. He's in 8th grade. Laker, what's one of your favorite things to do?
Play sports.
Yeah, is there a specific sport that is your favorite, or do you like them all?
Baseball.
Baseball. Yeah, awesome. All right, what do you have for me?
Why did you begin a podcast?
So I think that this is an area that there's a million podcasts out, right? A lot of people doing very specific things. I just want to create a space that is very positive and a way that you can connect and engage on several different topics that are within and outside of our community, but just to be able to have a wide variety. And there are many people that I feel like suffer in silence, and I think that even in the moments of chaos, there is a reason to celebrate. And I think just being kind of a bright light for people in a really, really dark world right now is going to be a really cool thing.
Tell me the story behind the title, Heather's Most Precious.
So our agency has a slogan, properly protecting your most precious possessions. And out of that slogan birthed the title, Heather's Most Precious. In order to be this place to celebrate and discuss things that do bring joy to other people and between us and our guests, the way to do that is by talking about the things that we hold the most precious to us, right? The things we hold dear. And for a lot of people, that looks different. And so for us, being able to really focus on Heather's Most Precious allows us the opportunity to look at those around us in our community, outside of our community, the guests on the show, and even within our family, and really discuss what we do find most precious. And y'all, for everyone, that is so different. It can be family and friends. For others, it can be medical treatment. For others, it can be their church or small group. It could be your job, and it could be your car. Who knows? Maybe you have a Harley Davidson you just are nuts about, and that's okay. But I really being able to get to the heart of the things that people find most precious, just allow an opportunity for celebration.
What are you the most excited about in regards to Heather's Most Precious?
There's a couple of things. I think being able to create this relationally driven podcast and that allows people to engage, I'm really excited about. I'm excited about being able to reach people that I would maybe not even come into contact with outside of this opportunity. And once again, being that bright spot for somebody, maybe they resonate with a story that a guest is going to share, maybe something that our family is going through seasonally. And so I think, once again, just the opportunity that this allows, the platform it allows to reach others and to engage with them and build relationships.
In what ways are you involved in your community?
So I'm very involved in our PTA, for those who don't know, Parent Teacher Association within the school. So I'm the president for our elementary school, also sit on our council level, and then I'm the Tennessee PTA state treasurer. Really believe in that organization and all it does to help ensure that every child's voice is heard and that they are getting the best possible education available. Also am involved with our Chamber of Commerce and am able to sit on the East Brainerd Chamber Council Board, which is fantastic, a wonderful group of people that are really enhancing East Brainerd community and small businesses. And then just volunteering around the area, and there are a few assisted living homes that really love the opportunity to build relationships with, and sometimes we'll go out and call bingo. I am missing a few of my grandparents, and being around some of those wonderful men and women have goodness, just feels like a piece of home, right? Really resonates, just building a relationship with them.
If you could be anyone for a day, who would it be?
Like anyone at all?
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. Okay. It's a really good question. Like, I would want to be a director at an orphanage, really anywhere. The children, really infants and children that reside there do not have what you and I have come to know, the traditional family in a place, in a shelter that we call home, and to be able to love them and instill in them kind of value and worth, which they may not feel because of their situation, would just, it would warm my heart. And then the opportunity to help try to find families for them and just really make a difference. That's really what I would want to do.
And lastly, what is your favorite holiday?
Ooh, so easy. It's my birthday. July 2nd is truly all about me, with a close second being probably between Christmas and Easter, just our Savior's birth and the sacrifice that he made for us. I'm so excited for y'all to meet my husband, Nick, who is super, super handy, which is really helpful because I'm honestly only good at picking out paint colors. We have been married for about 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's been a long time.
It has been.
Although it feels like yesterday sometimes, right?
It does. Sometimes.
That's so rude. That's so rude.
It's true.
Okay.
Speaking of being married for 15 years, do you remember when we got married?
I do.
You
Of
do?
course I do.
You remember what your favorite memories were from our wedding day?
I would probably say, our wedding was smaller. We had about, 120 of our closest friends and family.
I remember it being on your grandparents' farm.
I know, my sweet granny and grandma.
LaGrange, Georgia.
Yes, I always told my granny I wanted to get married there. And she always just laughed. And she was like, it's okay if you don't. So I remember them answering when we told them that we were going to get married on the farm. They were so beside themselves. And they had lived in that house for probably close to 40 years at that point.
Yeah.
And
I know the house has some Civil War history.
it does. It does. And they still say that our wedding was the best memory that they have living there, which is great. It, just truly was a joy to have them there, have all of our family, closest friends. I think that's probably the best. And then a close second was dancing, and being silly with all of our
memory
things.
for me was the fact that I was able to convince your parents to get a Ford potty.
We did that to get a porter potty.
They were absolutely against it.
Yeah.
And I convinced them. And they got one.
Yeah.
And everybody was happy.
Everyone was happy, and it had a sink inside, which was even better.
Yes.
As my parents would say, the fanciest porter potty they had.
So obviously we got married, but do you have a favorite date night since we've been married or prior to being married, or maybe with somebody else that wasn't me?
Stop it. We are not going there. Probably the best date night, which I love our concerts. We really love music. And so going to concerts, which we have a few coming up, which I'm so excited about. And those are special times for us. But the very best one was on anniversary number 4 or 5. Golly, it was a long time ago. But I remember that day you told me to go get my hair done. And you asked if I wanted basically to go on the water or on the mountain. And I chose the mountain. And I had no idea where we were going. It was a surprise. And we ended up at Canyon Grill. And it was such a sweet memory because you planned it. And I loved being surprised, just the thought that you put into that. And it was a really great meal. And just the time that we had in the car, it was about a 45-minute drive.
I don't know. It sounds like back when I was in my prime.
Yeah, it was. You're old now. But we've had a lot of really fun nights out, haven't we?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, a lot of great nights. But one thing that I do remember when we first dated was how easy you relate with children and babies. And since then, I've always considered you to be a baby whisperer. Because I've literally seen you make a crying baby stop crying just by smiling at him. So what is it about you that...
I don't know. I have no idea, but my whole life, I only ever wanted to be a mom, even before a wife. And my father would always tell me, no, your husband's in the army or he's somewhere, like you have one. But it's just been instilled in me. Honestly, probably God's greatest gift for me is just the way that I'm able to communicate, right, and engage with children. I love kids of all ages, but there is something special about babies. And it's just so special.
Well, it seems like a natural way of you being able to serve others. And I know you enjoy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So could you give us an example of what you do to serve others, or what you enjoy most about serving others?
Yes. So definitely instilled in me from birth, serving others. And honestly, there is such joy that you feel when you brighten other people's day, whether it's a hug or a great conversation, maybe bringing a meal. I think for me, even growing up and even now today, I love to visit assisted living homes or nursing homes. I love being with older people. I love the stories that they share because of what they have lived through. I love that. Well, I will say I don't love, but most of them are very, very lonely. Most of them do not have family or friends that are visiting them. They are maybe not even in control of their body anymore, and just in a different circumstance. So the ability for us to go and sit with them and have a conversation over a meal or call bingo, which is my favorite thing to do because they go crazy, take them candy or cookies, just letting them know that they mean something still. I think that's my favorite thing personally. And now that my granny and gramps have passed and my grandfather as well, being with these people almost fill that void that I have without the advice that they used to give. And now all I have is memories to cling to. So being with them just feels like a piece of home to me. And so it helps me probably more than it helps them. And there's this gentleman named Roe, and I have recently connected with him over the last few months. And he reminds me so much of my gramps. And I would cry if I talk about it longer. But goodness, there are connections that you can make with people that will make you better and will help shape your character. But you have to be willing to go out and kind of be willing to serve.
Pretty deep.
Yeah, sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about. But since you do all that stuff naturally, baby whisperer, geriatrics whisperer.
Oh, stop.
What is something that you wish you could do that you can't do, I guess?
Ooh. Can it be like...
Trying to pick out better paint colors?
No, stop. No, we are not doing another paint project. I'm going to be a child right now and say I would love to fly.
Where are you going to fly to?
I don't know, anywhere. I just
Fly around?
just to have the ability, and I mean, just to be able to do that, right? That was always my childhood dream, was to be able to fly. And in some
like a
dreams,
fairy?
I could do it. I wasn't any different. I just could fly out of water. I could fly out of the, anyway, it just would
They
be
make
fun.
airplanes. You can
I know they do. I know they do. Anyway, you asked what if I could do something I can't do. That's what I would do. I would fly. I don't know how many other people would say that. I'm sure there's something better, but
Well, since you could fly now, where would you travel to if you could fly?
Oh.
Or travel anywhere you want to go. I mean,
anywhere I
where-
want to go.
yeah.
I would first go to Scotland. That is
What's in
where,
Scotland? So-
well,
valuable.
that's part of my heritage, a big part. And yeah, just would always wanted to go there, just to see, have a part of the culture, see what it's like. I've heard it's beautiful. Actually, I have a picture of it here in my office, and you can see how pretty it is. But I would love to see that in person. And then a close second would be New Zealand. So I maybe kind of tour around Europe. There's other places, obviously, in Europe that people
Stop in
want to
Norway.
see.
Go see my heritage.
We could do that, and then we
Drop
could
by
do
Germany.
Yep, Amsterdam. I mean, there's just so many places, Sweden, that we could go visit that I would love to see. I just travel the world, really. And if I could fly, I'm not paying for a plane ticket. So hey,
I'll just hop on your back and we'll just fly on with you.
okay, let's do it.
I know we've talked about a lot of things, but what did you find most precious?
What do I find most precious? Jesus and my family are the things that I find most precious in my life. So, y'all, I hope that this kind of gave you a picture of who I am as the face of Heather's Most Precious. And you even got a sneak peek of the tagline that's going to be used in every episode of this podcast. When my husband asked, "What do you find most precious?" I am so excited for the guests that we have lined up, the discussions that we will engage in, and how this will open our minds, maybe for opportunity, maybe for new ideas, maybe just for a different conversation to be had. And y'all, whatever this podcast ends up being for you, maybe it's a bright spot on a really bad day for you. Maybe you're going to find out about a new date night spot, or maybe a new artist that you want to go see at a concert, or maybe you'll even want to start your own business. Whatever this ends up being for you, I hope that you stay encouraged. I hope that you smile often. And I hope that you will join us for the next episode of Heather's Most Precious.
Heather's Most Precious is brought to you with love by the Hendrickson Agency, an insurance agency serving all of Georgia and Tennessee. The Hendrickson Agency, properly protecting your most precious possessions. Support for Heather's Most Precious is provided by Study.com, which offers SAT and ACT study materials and even has resources for AP and college credit courses. Listeners of Heather's Most Precious get 30% off their first 3 months of any subscription level with offer code PRECIOUS. Just go to Study.com and use offer code PRECIOUS at checkout. Heather's Most Precious is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios and is part of the Podnooga Network. Find out more at ChattanoogaPodcastStudios.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode of Heather's Most Precious.